here getting that work in. Most coaches like to tell you to do shit, but don't get in the work themselves. I get in that work. Look how handsome he is. He's all big and swole. This might be his lift, to be honest.
The devil does indeed work hard, but I promise you, Brandon AMO does work hard.
All right, what's going on, guys? Dr. Matt here, host of the Rhody Strength Podcast. Got another special guest on today, Brandon AMO. What's going on, man?
Matt, how you doing, sir?
Doing good, doing good. We're recording out of the CrossFit Providence Studios for the first time. We're back on our game day RX vibe. Chris behind the camera here, so we get the nice setup. We got the 4 wooden boxes as usual. So we're going to kick it off. So Brandon, just to give you a quick intro, URI athlete, friends with Chris back in the day at URI. You did weight throw, you did hammer throw, you competed in track and field, also at Hendricken. Now working as a coach, trainer for high school athletes, as well as working with some guys over at Harvard University.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. I know, pretty small weight hammer thrower. I'm only 5'8". So you don't really get a lot of, guys my height throwing. But yeah, that's pretty much my whole background, essentially.
I love that. I don't know if I've ever met or talked to someone who's done hammer throw or weight throw. So I'm super interested to dive into that and talk more about that. But yeah, so you're more in like are there weight classes with that, or is it? So
weirdly enough, it's one of the only strength application based sports that there isn't weight classes in it. Usually when you get to weightlifting, Olympic weightlifting, powerlifting, even, wrestling, there is weight classes. But in track and field, it's a category, it's a field event. So they don't separate as far as weight classes go. It would be interesting to see that happen, though, if that ever was to happen.
Yeah, it almost makes sense, because you could almost picture like the guys who are really big could just use their momentum to toss it further, but maybe that's not the case.
Generally speaking, the bigger athletes do have an advantage, but there's so much form, technique, general athleticism, being dynamic that plays a role. So you do have athletes that are on the smaller side that throw far. So it's actually funny you bring that up. I went to regionals my senior year, and there's a photo of me at regionals, and I'm next to all these 6'5" giants, and I'm like the little like tiny peanut over there. So it's a cool
awesome
picture I have to bring up.
That's really cool. So we're gonna start it off. We're gonna get right into rapid fire questions. I personally love these questions. They're interesting for me. I hope they're interesting for my listeners too, or maybe they are just sick of it and they fast forward this part. But either way, we'll get right into it. So, favorite coffee shop? Maybe somewhere in Providence or somewhere around here?
Oh, Coffee Connection.
Okay, nice.
Cumberland and North Providence.
All right, good spot. All right.
Yeah.
The North Providence one is right next to my house. I've definitely been there a few times. What do you get there?
Black iced coffee. That's it.
Nice.
Medium always iced.
Always medium.
Yep.
Why not large?
I don't know, man. Whenever I get the large coffee, I just never finish it. But I said always black iced. Keep it basic. I actually like the taste of coffee grounds.
Sure.
So, and I always tell people, always look at me crazy. I'm like, oh yeah, no, if you don't put cream and sugar in it, you get more stimulated. So that's my little lie I tell people.
There you go. I like that. I'm the same way. I go hot black to start off the day, and then sometimes I mix it up. But
you from New England?
Yeah.
Hot black. Wow.
Hot black. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Never
I know
seen
a lot of iced coffee drinkers in New England. Next question we got is favorite go-to breakfast. Now this could be like a breakfast spot around the area or something you just make yourself at home.
Every morning I have a spinach protein shake.
Okay.
I throw a bunch of spinach in the blender, chocolate protein, scoop of peanut butter, almond milk. Every single morning, that's my go-to. If I have to go out or like get dragged to go eat, I go to a Cozy Grill. Cozy Grill on Warwick Ave.
Gotcha. Okay. I haven't been there, but I've definitely driven by that spot 100 times.
Yeah. Oh, it's a good spot. It's always packed in there. So
Cool. All right. I like that. And the spinach. So you get your greens in the morning.
I see. I hate vegetables, so I just like throw a bunch of spinach in the shake, and I'm like, all right, I had my vegetables of the day.
But do you kind of taste it as they're coming down too? Like kind of gritty?
Nah, it actually doesn't taste like anything. I think I have the Ninja blender.
Oh,
so
okay.
I think gets it down to the perfect consistency.
Solid. Next question we got. So we're getting a little more into the educational piece here, I think, or fiction or whatever. But favorite recent book, and if you're not a big book reader or Audible reader, you can sub out like podcasts for that.
So, all right, favorite book that I've been I've gone back to this book maybe 8 times in my life. Just gone back and read it. It's Transfer Training in Sports by Anatoly Bondarchuk. Anatoly Bondarchuk was a Russian sports scientist / coach, one of the most knowledgeable guys on track and field, and he talks about transfer training in sports. So a lot of times, as we said earlier, with throwing or track and field in general, everyone thinks it's, the biggest, strongest athlete, but he was one of the first really sports scientists that talked about how you can train specifically for your sport and how becoming more of a dynamic overall athlete will transfer better into what you're doing. So,
cool.
So it's cool stuff because it's like whether it's football, basketball, volleyball, there's things that you can do specifically for that sport in the weight room that's going to transfer when you're on the field. So whenever I'm like in a point in time when I'm programming or anything, I always just go back to that book and just read it. It's
nice.
pretty awesome.
Is that so I was skipping ahead a little bit. So I know your background is kinesiology at URI.
Yep.
Is that a book you found through that?
No, it was I don't even know how I found the book. It's just one of those books like people who like track and field always bring up. Have you read Transfer Training in Sports? Have you read Transfer Training in Sports? And so it's my coach actually in college. He had a copy of it, and I think it's a rare book to find, the actual copy. And he gave it to me. He's like, don't fold the book, don't bend it, bring it back, perfect condition. And I went home, took photos of all the books, everything was going on. And I always go back, and now I have the online PDF version.
Nice. That's cool. I haven't heard that one before. I also I did a little bit of track in high school, but not enough to really get into the sport. So, and I feel like in the weightlifting world, that's probably not a book that would come up very often. So,
no, not
that's
at all.
That's cool. Yeah, I haven't heard that one. I like that a lot. Is it like a textbook encyclopedia almost style, or is it?
It kind of,
yeah.
It is, but there's a lot of case studies in
Okay.
it, and there's the world record holder in the hammer throw. Actually, this coach coached him. It tracks his training throughout when he set the world record and what he was doing when he was waking up in the morning, his lifts, how far he was throwing different weighted implements, all of that stuff. So I mean, that's something I'm really, really into reading. It's just cool stuff to just go back on and experiment, try out new things with my athletes, honestly.
Totally. Okay, I like that a lot. Cool. Next rapid fire we got for you is favorite recent podcast, or just maybe some podcasts that you like to listen to, either interesting, entertaining, or maybe something like sport related.
So I'm not gonna give you a sport related one.
That's fine.
I like Earn Your Leisure.
Okay.
I'm low key a finance bro. I just like the whole concept of finance and, kind of setting yourself up for the future. So Earn Your Leisure is pretty awesome. And then I'm a big trivia buff. I know random stuff that no one cares about. So
nice.
I like Stuff You Should Know. It's a good one too.
Stuff You Should Know. I've heard of that one. I haven't heard of the Earn Your Leisure one. Is that a pretty popular podcast?
Yeah, I think Earn Your Leisure is big, and Stuff You Should Know is big too. But Earn Your Leisure, I said, if you're a random finance bro, you're you got to throw that on. It's pretty good podcast.
All right, I got to listen to both of them. I feel like the trivia one will help me a lot too. Just give me some random piece of advice if I ever play trivia at a bar or something like that.
Man, you never know. You find your future wife from trivia.
Definitely. Next question, we got favorite Instagram accounts. So again, could be same thing, could be sports related, could be just in general some entertaining for you.
I'll give a shout out to one of my boys. He has a Instagram account called Sector Foul. It's a meme account for throwers.
Okay.
It's just track and field memes that you'd have to, you'd have to throw to make the memes even remotely funny. So
That's the best kind.
Yeah, he kind of started that. So, I'm gonna give a shout out to him because
Can you say that again? The name of it?
It's called Sector Foul. So
Sector Foul, like FOUL.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
So I mean, it's just a funny thing that throwers like. So I'm gonna give a shout out to him. Another Instagram account I'm a big fan of too is I like Grunge Bible. That's another one of my boys started that one, and I'm not the hugest grunge fan, but I gotta support the squad.
Absolutely. I like that. Was that like music you're talking about?
Yeah, it's like 90s, 80s grunge.
Okay.
Nirvana,
Some hair.
Soundgarden. Yeah, Soundgarden. I'm learning all this stuff now.
Nice.
So
perfect. All right, we'll tag both of them. I like it.
all right, perfect.
Next question, we got somewhere you've traveled recently or somewhere you have plans to travel to soon.
So I traveled to Ghana recently. My family's from Ghana. Both my mom and dad were born in Ghana, and my grandma still lives there. So I went out there, spent 2 weeks out there, and it's crazy because when I was born, my mom actually shipped me over to live with my grandma for a couple of years, and kind of going back to Ghana now, it's like night and day. It's become a big tourist destination.
Really?
Everyone who's finding their roots back in Africa, they're all going to Ghana. It's become like, they have like Afrochella, which is like African Coachella. They got a bunch of stuff going on. So Ghana's dope, beautiful. I recommend it for everyone.
How long were you there?
2 weeks I was there for, or with my grandparents, or
I mean, yeah, just recently.
I was there for 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
And then
Have you been a bunch of times?
Yeah. So
That's cool.
It's cool. And then my next trip, I'm trying to go out to Japan.
Sweet.
Oh,
You been there?
No, I have not been there.
What? Just like be a tourist, go check it out.
Man, I'm trying to have the vibes, man. See what's popping up over there.
So I kind of want to go because there's really good like skiing and snowboarding out there. Like some of the best, yeah.
See, man, I'm never skiing. I won't lie to you.
So I was just curious if you were a skier.
No, God, no. No.
That's cool. All right, next question we got is favorite sneaker. Now this could be like, you could go either direction, like lifestyle, or you go like in the gym. What's your go-to shoe?
All right, I'm a big sneakerhead.
Okay.
Huge,
Yeah, right.
huge sneakerhead. I own a lot of shoes. That's like my guilty pleasure.
Okay.
So when I go traveling places, people are like, oh, like, did you get a souvenir? Did you go? I'm like, nah, I bought a pair of shoes.
Nice.
It reminds me of the place. But my favorite pair of shoes and they're actually re-releasing this year. I think I already have a pair of them though. It's Jordan 3s, but the white cement colorway. That's my favorite. That's my favorite shoe. But Jordan 3s in general, I think I have 10 pairs of Jordan 3s. I think it's one of the most underrated Jordans. Everyone's on the big ones buff, but I'm a 3s guy.
Nice. I like it. What about what do you work out in?
I had this pair of Volt Green Nike Romaleos. I know you've seen them.
Yeah.
That was the first Olympic lifting shoe I bought. I bought that when I was like 18 in my college dorm room when I had like $500 in my bank account. Like I should not have been buying
like a $200 shoe.
Yeah, I shouldn't have bought a $200 shoe. So like East Bay still existed then. They had a 20% off discount through the discount code in there, and then nice. I ordered those, and I wore those shoes. It had to be 7 years straight.
You still have them?
I still have them. Didn't change them at all. I mean, now I've gone a new pair of shoes.
Yeah,
I switched over to the Addy Power Lifts, but now I'm back in the Nike Romaleos, the 4s.
Nice.
But those Vol Green ones, man,
they last forever.
Ever.
Like if you buy one pair, you might never need to buy another pair.
No, especially if you only wear them in the gym.
Yeah.
So
like I try to be good about that. Is like when I'm on the platform and like even if I'm doing accessory work, I just take them off usually. You know, I don't wear them outside. Never outside.
No, it makes sense.
I got the same thing. I got the Addy Power Lifts. I got red ones and black ones. And right when I first started, I had Adidas came out with it wasn't an Olympic lifting shoe. It was like it had a slightly smaller heel. I don't know if you ever seen that one. I think they call it the Strong Lift.
Yes, yeah, I have seen that.
And I bought that, but I think they were supposed to be more of like a powerlifter style shoe. But I quickly, because they were cheaper, that's why I bought them. And I quickly went like, all right, I'm gonna get the powerlift after that. But I haven't tried the Nike ones, and I've seen a lot of people. The Nike ones are good.
Yeah, no,
it's a good shoe.
One thing I will say is the Adidas ones are more comfortable. I'd say they're way more comfortable.
Have you seen the ones that have the wood heel? The Adidas ones, the old school powers?
Yeah.
Those go for a ton of money on eBay.
It's crazy. I had so my first day of practice at the University of Rhode Island, kind of walking in thinking I was strong and all that stuff. We had this thrower. I'll show you over the video. He hang cleans 405. He had the Adidas wooden.
No way.
He had those on. He hang cleans 405 in the hole, smooth. Probably it looked like 70%.
No way.
And he had those shoes on. Those the first time I saw those, and they look like dress shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Wow. Yeah. I don't think I've seen those in the wild, actually, just online. That's cool. All right. Last rapid fire question I got for you is favorite movement in the gym, or it could be, you could use it for like hammer throw or weight throw too.
So favorite movement, it has to be, I'm not sure if you've ever seen this, it's called Hungarian cleans or Hungarian snatches.
No, I don't think so.
So all it is, a fancy term, Hungarian, but all it is that you do a high pull, and then reactive off the high pull, you'll do the clean. So you'll pull on a high pull, and then you'll pull again, and then you'll catch it on the second rep. Or, you can do 3 high pulls and then catch the 4th one on the clean.
So do you, after the high pull, do you bring the bar all the way back down to the floor?
Yep.
And then immediately do a clean after that?
Yep.
Cool. All right.
It's an extremely reactive movement. A lot of times people do it for tempo-based training, or just it's very, very European, sports specific, mainly to track and field athletes. But it's one of those lifts where every time I program it, I notice the instant change with the athletes, because it's a velocity-based lift.
Sure.
But it still incorporates the Olympic movement into it.
Do you think you're getting almost like a stretch shortening cycle there, where like it's a high speed movement and then you go right into your lift after that?
Oh yeah.
100%,
It makes a huge difference.
That's cool. I like that. So is it a touch and go, or can you like stop, reset for a second, and then go into your movement?
Touch and go.
Touch and go. So
Yep.
go, lift, and then go.
Yep.
That's cool. I haven't done those.
You got to put those. I'm telling you, you put those into your program. You're gonna go up. Like that has to be number. There's another one that came to my mind. That and then Hatfield squats.
Oh, after is it after Dr. Hatfield and at URI?
Yep.
Shout out. Let's go. So I've heard of those, but I don't know what they are.
Oh man, it's say you have a safety bar, put a safety bar on. Instead of holding it here, you'd hold the railings of a platform, and then you get into the hole and then come back up.
Gotcha.
It really recruits a lot of muscle fibers, adds a lot of force. It's a lot of force, rapid force development, and you can load the weight. Usually a lot of times if you program that for athletes specifically, as Dr. Hatfield said, that's what got him to squat over 1,000 pounds.
Wow.
Like if you program that, you notice a huge, because the safety bar, it puts you kind of in the front squat position, but you're able to load it heavy as if it's a back squat. Right. And it translates over really well to your clean and jerk, your snatch, your front squat, your back squat. It makes a huge difference.
So with the safety bar, obviously it's on your back, and those things are coming over to the front like this.
Yep.
And you're not holding on to those. You're holding on to the rig.
Yep.
Or the squat rack. It doesn't flip back and fall. It stays on your back.
It stays stationary on your back. But what I always do with all of my athletes, or if I have a group or whatever, I make them hold it.
Yeah.
So
like a partner.
Yeah, like a partner. Like you're spotting.
Yeah.
Make them hold it so it doesn't fall back. I've never had a situation where it has. But
it's pretty sturdy on there.
Yeah, but I'm a big safety in the weight room. I don't like anyone getting hurt.
Think a few steps ahead.
Yeah, I don't like anyone getting hurt in the weight room.
Totally.
So we always partner up with it.
That's really cool. All right, so we're gonna take a quick break, and then when we come back, I want to start to get into your background through Hendricken, through URI, and hammer throw.
All right, perfect.
Cool. All right, we are back. So starting off, I'm just going to do a quick list of your awards, your accolades. So we're going to run down the line. 2018 Outdoor Atlantic 10 champion in the hammer.
A10s.
Let's go. And then also in the weight throw in 2018. 2016 runner-up in the indoor A10 weight throw. 2017 indoor A10 champion in the weight throw.
Sir.
All URI.
Sir.
Let's go. All right, so we're going to start. Let's start back at, so I have 2 things listed. I did a little bit of homework on you. So we have Hendricken. We also have Providence Cobras.
Oh.
Was that at the same time?
It's tough. All right. So where do I even start with this Hendricken story? So I had a coach at Hendricken, Coach Johnston, the GOAT for sure. He kept trying to get me to throw the hammer since I was maybe a freshman or a sophomore. And I was like tiny. I'm like, why does this guy want me to throw the hammer? Because he saw me try out for soccer. I was terrible at soccer. He saw me play other sports. He said, no, you got to come throw the hammer. You got to come throw the hammer. Every time he sees me in the hallway, you got to come throw the hammer. I got really big into weightlifting when I was a sophomore. And he'd always be in the weight room. You got to come throw the hammer. I'm like, is this guy following me everywhere? And I kept avoiding this guy. I was like, there's no way I'm throwing the hammer. No shot. I had no interest in it whatsoever.
What were you interested in?
So I tried to play soccer.
Yeah.
Not that good.
Sure.
I played rugby and I broke my knee, non-contact.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my junior year of high school. It was like a pickup game. It wasn't even
non-contact though.
Yeah, non-contact.
So just ACL or
no, the actual cap.
wow.
Yeah, crazy. I don't even fix that turf field. It's funny. We told everyone I was playing soccer in the backyard, but that's not what was happening.
Yeah. Rugby.
Yeah. So, after that knee injury, I really didn't have a sport to kind of, fall on. So, even let's even trace back. So my freshman year, I thought I was going to be a sprinter. I thought I was going to be this world-class, high-level sprinter. I broke my femur.
No way.
Yeah, I broke my femur running at practice. Like I was just running. We were running group. Another athlete came, hit the back of my leg. I just fell down, femur snap. Had to go to the.
Are you talking femur upper leg or fibula lower leg?
Oh, upper leg.
What?
Crazy, right?
That's a really hard bone to break.
Yes. So I had two.
Holy smokes!
I had two major injuries. So at my freshman year, I had the femur. My junior year, I had the knee. And then it was one of those things where I wanted to be good at something.
Yeah.
I did again, the school I went to, a Hendricken, big sports school.
Yeah.
So, I was like, hey, let me just try out the hammer, I guess. Go to a practice, almost decapitate myself, winding the hammer on my head. I'm like, I don't know, this is for me and Coach John. So it's kind of like, hey, stick with it.
Yeah.
So I stuck with it, got super, super obsessed with, getting the movement down, getting the rhythm down. Again, I was not the most athletic person whatsoever.
Yeah.
So that when I say I could do it, anyone could do it. So I was able to get the rhythm down, get the movement down. And then I just kind of really got obsessed. I was like, hey, maybe I can make the varsity team. I saw the kids that were ahead of me. I'm like, maybe if I work hard enough, I can make the varsity team. So I just kind of started grinding, and then I got really good at it. And then it opened doors for me potentially to go out of the state for college. And then, URI obviously was the best financial situation and the best situation for me. And even at URI, compared to the other schools I was talking to, like, URI was like, you can come as a walk-on if you want. It wasn't even I had a scholarship or anything.
Sure.
So, I walked onto URI and then had success over there.
That's awesome. Yeah, because I was looking on your URI profile, like you had you could have gone to Charlotte, you could have gone to Miami, and you ended up choosing URI over them.
Yep. So so with Miami would have been a preferred walk-on position. I have shout out to the coach at Miami. I have no idea why he was even remotely interested in talking to me whatsoever. He kind of was like, hey, if you apply and you get in, he's like, I'll take you on the team here. And then the coach over at Charlotte, I had a good friend who threw hammer over there. Yeah. And he was, kind of talking to the coach about me. And the coach gave me an offer. He's like, hey, I want you to come on the team. And which, ironically enough, I email URI, and I always make fun of my throws coach over there. But hey, I emailed you, and you never responded back to me.
Right.
And I was like, hey man, so my senior year, my fifth year, I had a really good campaign. I'm like, man, I scored you all these points, man, and you didn't even answer my email.
Just keep chirping him about it.
Yeah, I got to bring it up to him.
That's great. You have to.
Yeah.
So was it sophomore year at Hendricken you got into hammer, or was it? So
I actually officially started the hammer my senior year of high school.
Okay. Wow.
So I came into the sport really, really late. After, trying it out, I said I fell in love with it and kind of became obsessed with getting good at it. And again, not being the highest level caliber athlete, not being the most athletic, not being the strongest, not being the most flexible. That's kind of, I think, what opened my passion eventually going to coaching was I figured out so much things of how to get myself better. And I had a lot of good guidance over the way, and that's where the Cobras came in. So
yeah, tell me about the Cobras.
So after my senior year of high school, where I decided, hey, I'm going to go to the University of Rhode Island. Providence Cobras existed at the time. And the throws division was ran by this guy Nick Palazzo, and he was a throws coach at Rhode Island College at the time. The GOAT, Nick Palazzo, the GOAT. Like, he's one of the most underrated throws coaches in the New England area. He's very low key. He doesn't poke his head out. does his thing, the GOAT. And so, I ran into Nick when I was throwing over at Mount Pleasant just by myself. And then Nick was like, hey, you should join the Cobras. And I was like, how's the Cobras? He's like, oh, it's a club I run. I'm here, Tuesday and Thursday. Whenever you need me and you want to throw, I'll be here. And I was like, all right, how much does it cost? He's like, don't worry about it. I was like, wait, what do you mean don't worry about it? He's like, don't worry about it. It'd be my pleasure to help. So that whole summer, I joined the Cobras, and I was at practice every single, Tuesday, Thursday with Nick. And I text Nick all the time, like, hey, Nick, I want to throw. And every time I text the guy, like, hey, can you help me out? I want to throw. He would be there to help me out. And he really, really prepped me for URI at the time, because going into URI as a walk-on, they had an insane recruiting class coming in. The recruiting class coming to URI was ridiculous. It was they wrote an article about it. It was one of the best recruiting classes.
Wow. What year?
This had to be 2013.
Gotcha.
Going
Okay.
in. They had they had studs, all studs. Shout out to the 2013 incoming class, my guys. So Nick really prepared me to go try to make the URI team. And the Cobras, I don't believe the Cobras exist anymore, but at the time it was like the youth development track.
I couldn't find much information on them.
No, there's I guess there was like some criminal stuff that it wasn't with Nick. It wasn't with Nick.
Okay.
It was with I guess somebody who ran it at the time. There was some criminal stuff.
They had to shut it down.
Embezzling money or something, which was unfortunate because
Yeah.
it was a good program for inner city kids to go there
Sure.
and get better. But it does not exist anymore.
Too bad. Okay, so you went to Hendricken, went to Providence Cobras, you're over at URI. What's your kind of like training, like your day to day? So you walk on, you make the team.
Oh, let me tell you this. Let me tell you this story of me making the team. So I go to walk on the team at URI. Good, everything's going well, and then I failed medical clearance. So I'm like, oh wow. I'm like, how did I fail medical clearance? So I have sickle cell anemia. So I'm severely anemic. Again, another disadvantage of why I shouldn't even be remotely good at sports. I'm severely anemic. I get crises. They're kind of like blood clots, super painful. And with the NCAA, the one thing that you can't have to do NCAA sports is sickle cell anemia. They give everyone a sickle cell trait test to see if athletes have the trait. Because, if you're doing a high intensity sport, you could pass out and die, essentially.
Sure.
So, I didn't find out. I knew I had sickle cell, and the medical staff wouldn't clear me. And I was like, all right, shit, can't get cleared. It kind of sucked at the time.
Yeah.
And then the head coach who was there, John Copeland, he's one of the winningest coaches in the new NCAA history. Very old school coach. We had another thrower on the team that got cut from the team. He failed out. And then Copeland kind of gave me a call, was like, hey, I'm going to fight for you to be on the team if you want to be here. So, Copeland set up a meeting with my medical doctor, the training staff over at URI. They went over everything. My medical doctor was like, oh, he's fine. His hemoglobin levels are fine. Like he can, and he's not like he's running.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, he's good to go. And Copeland, he like stood by me and he was like, I want you to be on this team. And which, if you know Cope is a very stern guy. You don't really get that out of him. He really, really looked out for me. And then eventually I was able to get on the team. And, I told him, hey, thank you for the opportunity. I promise I won't let you down. And that's kind of what, started my hero story, right?
Go.
Yeah, you have the my hero story started from there. And then I was like, I can't let this guy down. I gotta turn up. I got my opportunity. Like I'm turning up. So like that is what got me into the program, and that's kind of where it started. Yep. That's
cool. I like that a lot. Did that end up like having to affect you at all during the season, like the sickle cell, or were you like you're pretty good with that?
I'm pretty good with my health. Anybody that knows me, I'm a pretty regimented person. And I think me being physically active, very physically active, kind of stops me from getting pain crises and all that stuff.
Nice.
Did I have stuff that happened during the year? 100%. But was I good at managing it? Letting my coaches know if anything was going wrong. Yeah, but I try to be on top of that stuff.
Yeah, under control. That's cool. All right, so you make the team. What's your training like when you're there? Because just as like a college athlete, like what's your normal week look like? Like are you early morning practices or kind of like what's your day to day?
Put on weight.
Yeah. All right.
So like going into college, I went into college at like 172 pounds, maybe.
Yeah.
And then, like, Cope kind of looked at me. He's like, "You gotta gain weight." And I was like, he's like, "But not shitty weight." And I was like, all right, I got you. So like, I think the hardest part of my training, obviously we threw 5 days a week. We lifted 4 days a week. We did, a lot of general conditioning, a lot of strength-based training. Coach Copeland was actually my coach for the first 2 years in the Hammer, and then it switched over to Ben Carroll, Ben Carroll was already there. He was doing shot, discus, and javelin, but then Cope eventually gave him the hammer throw. And then with Cope it was mainly gain weight, get stronger. A very old school type of training as far as more gym head, meathead type of training, which again for me worked really, really good because I was kind of like an empty shell, and I ended up bulking up to I was like 205.
Nice.
I bulked up to, and then I got a lot stronger. My lifts all went up. I had great teammates, and then when Ben took over the throws, it was more so, hey, you got to get more flexible. You got to get better range of movement. Are you sleeping? A lot of other stuff that I didn't think was important.
Yeah.
I would say more modern sports science. Don't get me wrong, Ben's a huge meathead, but it was more so modern sports science, kinesiology based application training.
Gotcha. Okay.
So best of both worlds, honestly.
What were you doing? Like, you saying like you were just doing like meathead workouts? Were you just in there like bench press, like lat pull downs, like bicep curls?
So more so again, cleans, back squats, lot of squat, any type of variation squat, pitch sharks, front squats. The list kind of goes on. A lot of it wasn't sport specific.
Yeah, just get big.
Yeah, we had a really good strength coach who, I needed my first year. His name was Matt Rhodes.
Okay.
Really smart guy. He was a big power lifter. I think he squatted maybe 900 plus.
Oh my God.
Like 500 plus bench press. I'm not sure what school he's at, but he was very big on, you guys got to get strong. You got to get strong. You get strong. And then, so any type of powerlifting base lift.
That's cool. What about like nutrition? Like, do they give you like a plan? Like, hey, eat these foods, stay away from these foods, or supplements, or anything like that?
So at the time when I was there, no, we didn't have a nutritionist on staff or anything like that. A lot of the stuff that at least my upperclassmen throwers that I don't recommend was we just watch Ronnie Coleman eating videos. And see Ronnie Coleman eating 20 eggs, some
steaks.
So I don't recommend that stuff, but it's crazy how I'm not that old. I'm not that old, but the difference between 2013, 2014, 2015 to now is not. There's more knowledge on the internet now.
Sure. Oh, totally.
Back then it was we had this guy Will Janes. I was like, Will, you're a smaller hammer thrower. How do I get better? He got so mad I said that, but and then he kind of showed me his ways of what he was doing, what he was eating. Just kept. You went to Butterfield Hall. You got 6 plates of food. You just ate it.
And you could just go just like a buffet style, right? Just keep eating.
Yeah. Don't recommend that now, but
that is what's nice about being on a college campus like that. The meal plan is just eat until you can't move.
yeah, pretty much.
That's cool. So you're in there, you're working out. At what point? So you went in 2013. So you started winning, or you started becoming pretty competitive. It looked like in 2016.
Yep.
Okay, so what is it? Junior year?
Yeah, junior year's when I kind of went from, at least in our region, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah.
And a lot of people who were, at least in Rhode Island, has a good tradition of hammer throwers, hammer weight throwers, and
really,
yeah. And then a lot of people, that were better than me. I started, beating people, getting on the higher stages, started, winning more awards as far as recognition goes. 2016 is really where my big jump happened. And I think that was a combination mainly of, I think I got that solid foundation from Cope, and then Ben took over, and then it was very much so, this is how we're doing it, this is how we're programming, all of this stuff. Now you have all of this strength and stuff you built out, how do we transfer it into the sport.
Right.
And I think also with me, I became a huge student of the event, like those times, because again, I was like last fiddle on the team. I'm telling you, the guys that we brought in were really good. So we had another guy we brought in who was also my roommate, good dude, Malik Hanley. I think he was third in the country out of high school coming in. So he was a hammer thrower stud. So it's like I was like, hey man, like that's good. I have a good training partner. Like, let me see what Malik's doing. Let me see what all these other guys are doing. And I just started doing more research, and then annoying Ben, texting Ben all the time, like, hey Ben, like you see this article, like what do you think about it? And then I feel like all that knowledge putting together, and then after 2 years of solid foundation building, solid training, then it was all right, I can apply this now.
That's badass. That's cool. So how many days a week are you just like in the gym getting at it, versus how many days in the week are you on the field like just practicing your throws?
So rule of thumb for throwers, you want to get about 10,000 throws a year.
Wow. Okay.
Depending on the event, hammer throw, shot put, discus. You don't want to throw the javelin 10,000. You will blow out your elbow.
Did you ever try that?
No, not the jab. So that was the thing, is like I became kind of obsessive. I came to the point where I had this irrational fear that if I wasn't training, other people were getting better than me.
Sure.
And I think that's what kind of lit a fire underneath my tail. Like, I can't let other people get better than me, and I want to be the best I can possibly be. So, I mean, for me, I was probably outside throwing minimum 5 days a week. At the very least 5 days a week. That's kind of how practice was structured at URI.
Yeah, okay.
It was like practice was structured 4 days. I'd always go out the extra day.
Nice.
And then I said I was lifting about 4 to 5 days a week at that time. Again, I said I was one of those, I took probably in a year, a month off total.
Wow.
I was all in, locked in. And like, did I make some mistakes? Did I get injured because I was overtraining? Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
But was I like adamant about, I need to be the best athlete I can possibly be, so I'm going to do all these things? Yeah.
That's all. Yeah. And that's like that common thing is like, all right, I want to do as much as I can, but then it does come to a point where, okay, maybe you're doing a little bit too much, where you're getting injured, you set yourself back a little bit.
Yeah.
Because there is that perfect amount, that right amount to hit.
Yeah.
Wait, if you were to go back, would you change anything the way you did it? Like maybe more rest days, or?
If I was to go back, I'd say I'm a better athlete now than I was when I was in college. And I think now I prioritize stretching. That's something I didn't prioritize.
Sure.
I didn't prioritize sleep.
So for all the high school and college athletes out there, you're getting words of wisdom right now.
Yeah, this is what you need. I like stretching, sleep, active recovery. I never did active recovery. I never did like an active recovery, go out, do some yoga, some plyometrics. I definitely would have added way more gymnastics to my training. At the time, I didn't realize that, and I think a lot of people don't realize it still. It's like throwers are athletes.
Sure.
Like when you see an elite level thrower, they're an athlete. Like their numbers jump off the charts. I was one of those people that used to always think, hey, if you just get stronger, like you're going to throw further. And like, if you don't take any days you're going to throw further. And like you learn way more from your L's than you learn from your W's.
Sure.
Like people, like you learn so much from your L's.
Yeah.
And I took a lot of L's, and I think, that's what makes me a better coach now.
Sure.
But those are the biggest things I would change. Sleep is important. 100% sleep is important. Stretching, more plyometrics, more gymnastics, overall conditioning is important.
I like that. That's cool. And kind of something that you just said about how like hammer throwers are incredible athletes. There's something else I pulled off your website. Your favorite athlete is I'm probably gonna screw up his name. Primo.
Oh, Primoz Cosmos. Yeah. He's a Slovenian hammer thrower.
Okay.
I think his PR was like 83 meters in the hammer. Clean. He was clean. Most of the guys in the 80s weren't clean. He was more around the 90s, early 2000s.
You're saying clean as in like no steroids?
No steroids.
Yeah.
Huge steroid tradition in the sport of throwing.
Same with weightlifting.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah,
it's more strength. It's get better. Is 83 in the hammer, and
The Europeans don't throw the weight.
Oh, okay.
The weight's an American thing.
Interesting.
I don't think it's a stupid event. A lot of people go and say the weight throw is a stupid event. A lot of people say the weight throw destroys hammer technique. I completely disagree. You have to train the weight throw properly. There's
Sure.
a proper way to train the weight throw. You can be an elite level weight thrower and an elite level hammer thrower.
Sure.
And I think the huge misconception right now is a lot of people think, oh, it's like, if you throw the weight, you're going to destroy your hammer technique. You're not going to get a hammer. It's like, no, the weight is a great accessory tool that teaches direct force application that you can apply into the implement. I am a fan of the weight throw if you train it properly.
Sure.
That's a story for another day, but that
I like that. I didn't even know. I had to look it up, the difference, because like, I'm like, hammer throw. Okay, I think I know what that is. I looked up the YouTube video. I'm like, oh yeah, I've seen that. And then weight throw, I'm like, and I looked up that. I'm like, wait a second. How was that different again? And I had to look back and forth, like, okay, that one doesn't look as heavy, maybe, or like the rope. Is that a rope is longer?
It's a wire kind of. Okay. The weight throw is it's indoors. It's 35 pounds for the men. It's 20 pounds for the women's. It's an indoor hammer throw essentially. It's an American event. Americans love it. The Europeans do not throw it at all. It's a huge American thing.
That's funny. And so how did it happen? Like it became like an American sport versus not European. Do you know? So
I don't really know the history background of the weight throw. That's something I definitely want to do research on. But with the Europeans, some countries like Slovakia, they do like a short wire event where it's like it's a hammer, but it's on a shorter length and it's heavier, so it's kind of like a weight throw, but
they won't call it that.
But it's not the weight throw.
Yeah.
And I think the adaptation of that later became the weight throw, because the weight throw started, from my knowledge, I don't know the origin. It started as an NCAA event, big in the collegiate system, to give hammer throwers the opportunity to compete indoors.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because what would happen, it would be the shot put would be the only indoor event, which would kind of suck if that was the only one. So it gave throwers another opportunity to do an event indoors.
That's cool. That makes sense. So a little bit more about like just the technique behind it. So when I watched the YouTube video, is there I'm sure there's rules and limits to this. I know nothing about it. There's an amount of times that you can spin before you throw?
So for my younger athletes, if anyone watches this, it's not a spin, it's a turn.
Okay, sorry.
I make them run a lap when they call it a spin.
No way. Should I get running?
No. I hate the term spin because a spin's a spin. It's a turn. It's a rotational movement. Sure. I'd say it's changed. I'd say before you'd see more 3-turners. So like 3 turns and release the hammer. 4 turns is now the more popular thing to get the distance out there. The circle, so to fit it within the circle, if you're in motion of the throw and you fall out of the circle, it's a foul. And there's sector lines, so the hammer has to stay in the sector when you release it.
Like baseball, it can't go like beyond like the foul marking or whatever.
Exactly.
Okay,
like
cool,
that.
Cool. Interesting. And it seemed like that circle was pretty tight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so the people who are 4-turners, and this could be just like a stupid question, but you get pretty dizzy. Because you're turning very fast.
When you first start out, you get very dizzy. You're like, hey, yo, what the hell am I doing? Like, where am I? It's funny, whenever I teach a kid from the start, like we'll just do some like turns on like a pavement. Yeah. And they're like, I need to sit down because I'm dizzy. But then after a while, you don't
get used to it.
You get so used to it. I mean, like my athletes right now, they take about 30 reps of practice and they're fine.
That's really because coming from the PT side of things, when people have vestibular disorders, we don't spin them or turn them, but like we'll do exercises to like help them like get their vestibular system like back up and rehabbed. Yeah. So it almost makes sense that like, okay, but that's one end of the spectrum. The other end of the spectrum is like you have a normal vestibular system and you can just like practice that and just get it better and have less dizziness essentially.
Really? Wow.
So that's interesting.
Did not know that.
Yeah. Because there's people who like, there's a condition called BPPV where basically the sensory organ in your ear is almost like it's tubular, and there's a certain the layman term would be like a crystal essentially, and it can come out of the organ and move through the tubes. And essentially, if you think of it like a snow globe.
Yeah.
It like comes out of position. And it's a really common like PT diagnosis. And there's a couple things you can do to get better. But one of them is like doing like different like spinning essentially techniques to rehab the system. So
I'm gonna sound I don't this is right now. Is that so opposite vertigo? Is that kind of what it's like? You know, what's vertigo is when your ears clogged, right? Or something
it can be. It can happen when your ears clogged. It can happen like if you go on an airplane. It can happen if you go like snorkeling because the vestibular system, it's in your brain, but also there's an organ in your ear that affects it. So if you close your eyes and you're laying down, you know you're horizontal. Or if you're like face up, like you know you're face up, face down.
Okay.
So yeah, that essentially is what makes you dizzy, is like that system.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So it's really interesting to hear that like, okay, like you must at that level, you're at the other end of the spectrum. You're still training it.
Yeah.
Because your first few times you get dizzy, but then once you like get better and better at it, it's like you're not dizzy anymore. Your body is adapted to that stimulus.
Wow.
That's cool. I like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. So you have the 3 turns and then release. Is there any other like rules behind that, or essentially like? I'm sure there's a ton.
It's funny because I've hosted a lot of meets and I'm like I'm used to like giving the whole commands or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give you the quick meet rundown.
All right, let's hear it.
So you have the hammer circle. You can say we're at a competition. So you can enter the circle at any point that you want. I mean, so you have about a minute now, I believe a minute in high school to commence your throw from when you walk into the circle.
Okay.
So as soon as you start winding the hammer over your head,
Yeah.
that's when your throw is in commencement, like it's ready to go. From there on out, you have to eventually release the hammer, whether you do 1 turn, 2 turns, 3 turns, or 4, you release it, you wait for the implement to land, and then you have to walk out the back half of the circle. If the
Gotcha.
implement lands within the sector, the official usually say mark, then you mark the throw. And then that's kind of how you get your distance. But you have to walk out it's changed whether it's high school. Every federation, I guess, has its own different thing now. Like before, when I was competing, you couldn't even like stumble out the back. You had to walk out of the back controlled. Now I know in like some systems you can be kind of falling out of the back and still be fine. But yep, you get in the circle, you throw, it lands in between the sector lines, you walk out the back of the circle, the official marks it, and then you get your distance. And then usually when you go to competition, there's 3 preliminary throws. And then if you're top 8 or top 9 in competition, you move on to finals. Finals, you just get 3 additional throws.
So what's the most amount of throws you would do if you're in competition?
6.
6. Okay. Cool. So it's not too many.
No,
but max effort. So
oh yeah, it's fun. It's like you feel like you got hit by a truck after you're done competing.
I bet.
Like I only took 6 throws. I take 40 at practice.
Yeah. But there's
Smoked.
as hard as you can.
Yeah.
So at practice, you're probably just going based on what is it, like RPE, like yeah.
So every coach is different. Oh wait, just to go back to what you said.
Go ahead.
You want to stay as relaxed as possible in competition. Any of my athletes watching, stay as relaxed as possible. Do not get tight because you start pulling in.
Sure.
All over the place. Yeah. And, so it depends. Every coach, every system is different.
Sure.
RP, like a lot of elite level athletes I've talked to, or at least throwers, a lot of them do RPE. I normally do like, all right, we're going to get 30 throws this practice, we're going to get 20 throws this practice, or 10 throws this practice. Depending on the athlete. But say, for example, if I see they're fatigued and their technique is breaking down, they're all over the place, I'll cut it early.
Sure.
So RP is a fantastic way actually to train the throws. I think that's great for youth and developmental athletes, just because they can get as much volume as they feel that day.
Yeah.
So I think RP is great, but I think RP is an indicator. I mean, I said I usually set like the amount. If they're having a great day and they took 25 throws and they look fantastic and they're like, hey, coach, I want to take more. Let's go for it.
Yeah. What is that saying? Like cook when the kettle's hot?
Yeah,
go for it.
You gotta start cooking, man.
Yeah, I like it. All right, that's cool. All right, so let's let's transition. Or any memorable moments as we're wrapping up URI. I know. So you had those A10 champions.
Yep.
One in 2018. So were you was it red shirt and then you took an extra year at that point, or?
Yeah. So I tore my quad at practice one day. That's why I redshirted. It was a freak injury. I was just winding the hammer and I tore my quad. That's not.
You've had some pretty wild injuries. Like not the most common ones.
Yeah, still kicking, man. Still
Yeah,
kicking.
there you go. That's good.
They'll have to. I tell my athletes they have to wheel me around in a wheelchair at meets soon enough.
There you go.
Yeah, no, I mean memorable moments. It's like I believe I can't even. I think I won maybe 4 810s, 3 or 4, I think, or like I can't even remember. And that's kind of the good thing of I can't remember is the most fun I had in track and field is all the memories I made, all the friends I made, enjoying the process. And that's what I try to tell all the athletes. I'm like, hey, you got to enjoy the process. Like it has to be fun.
Yeah.
When you start chasing distances and chasing, awards and accolades and all that stuff, it removes the fun from the sport.
Sure.
And when you're having fun and you're enjoying it, you're going to get the results you want.
Yeah.
So, my favorite thing about, my URI career, track in general, is like I got to travel around the world. I got to see the world. I got to make friends with people I never thought I'd be friends with ever in my life. I got to go out to, University of Alabama and train for a week, go into those facilities. I just made so many connections. I made so many friends. I met so many different types of people. The sport did a lot for my life as far as a developmental person.
Yeah.
And I think that was the most awesome part about, getting the opportunity to, Coach Copeland giving me the opportunity to be at URI and, me taking the opportunity and making the best out of it. That's what the sport's about. The sport is about, enjoying the process. It's a journey. You're going to have more downs, more L's, way more L's than you're going to have W's. But, those W's make all the L's you took worth it.
That's awesome. So, I mean, going kind of off what you're saying too is like, you got to have fun. You got to like what you're doing.
Yeah.
But I'm also sure like on the flip side, there were some days where you're like, oh man, I don't want to go to practice. Like, so what got you through those times?
Oh man, there was days where you just had like slumps where you're like, you just don't even know how to throw anymore. And you're like, I'm like, I've been doing this for, how do I know how to throw?
How do I forget how to do this?
Like days I've been contemplating my life. I'm like, why am I doing this bullshit? Like this shit's, why am I out here? It's 20 degrees out. There's snow on the ground. My hands are bleeding. I'm trying to get a fucking ball on a wire. Excuse my language. A ball on a wire far. And it's like, and then you just have the worst practice of your life. And then you just go in your car, you're playing sad music, you're at Chipotle, depressed. Like,
do you have a sad music? Do you have a genre?
Oh man, just
the grunge?
Not grunge, no. Some John Legend, man.
Nice.
Man, some John, like I'm listening to like John Legend. I'm listening to some sad R&B music.
Some Adele?
Yeah, no, I'm not. I mean, bad like Adele.
Come on.
Some Rolling the Deep. And I'm like, why am I doing this? So like, yeah, you do have those moments. Those moments happen for sure. Not even, but you got to overcome that stuff, man.
Right,
it's a life sport.
Yeah. You got to think big picture.
Big picture.
That's cool. I like that. All right, so I guess we'll wrap up the URI and So you graduated. I know you're at Harvard now, and you're doing personal training, doing coaching, but I don't know if I'm missing a gap here, but what was the journey from graduating URI and then starting to work over at Harvard?
So while I was at URI, I started a track and field club.
Cool.
It's called Rise Athletics.
Sweet.
At me on Instagram. Called Rise Athletics. I never wanted to be a coach ever. I'd never wanted to be a coach. No shot. Like letting 14 to 22-year-old kids control your mental health and your happiness and your worth in life. No shot. Yeah, I never wanted to be a coach. So when I was at URI, I guess I kind of had a mini following essentially in the state, just because I was, a good athlete, who was a walk-on, and then, a lot of athletes. So I had a lot of, athletes reach out to me via Instagram, be like, hey, is there any way you can help me out or whatever? And I was like, I ghost these messages. And then eventually I was like practicing one day, and then I had an athlete stroll by, and they're falling all over the place, and I started helping the athlete. And then from there on out, kept hitting me up, shooting me text messages, and I was like, no way. This is 360. I did the same thing to Coach Palazzo, same spot, same things happening. So I started helping out this athlete, and then he's like, hey, can I bring one of my friends? And I was like, sure, you can bring one of your friends. Brought one of the friends. Then his friend was like, "Can I bring one of my friends?" And I was like, "Oh my God, what did I get myself into?" And then eventually I was like, "Hey, there's a lot of really, really good coaches in the state for track and field in Rhode Island. But there's a lot of schools that don't have coaches or don't have, and there's a lot of kids that want to get good. So I was like, hey, let me put this club together." So I think the first year of the club I had like 6 kids.
Sure.
And then it kind of just grew into almost 40 plus.
Wow.
Yeah, it just grew. And it's like one of those things where I'm like, how the hell did I get myself in this situation? I don't want to coach kids. So yeah, it kind of just grew from there. And then I started having and then I started helping out North Kingstown High School.
Cool.
And then we had a really good tradition over there. We had a lot of kids do really well, break school records, get Division I scholarships. And then the club grew as well. So those two kind of grew simultaneously. But then when I was going back to college, when I was at URI, when I was having my last year review meeting with Cope, who also told me I was gonna be a coach when I was like, no shot. He was like, "Oh, you're gonna coach in college," and I was like, "Yeah, I'm not coaching college." So the Harvard thing kind of happened randomly. I'm friends with the throws coach who's over there at Harvard, and she kind of she knew me from like high school and college and all that stuff, and she knew I had an interest in eventually being a collegiate throws coach. So every year for a couple of years, she'd hit me up like, "Hey, so you want to come try it out?" And I was like, "No, I'm good." I kind of ghosted her. She's a super nice woman. I kind of ghosted her, and then eventually, she got me, and I was like, "Hey, come try it out." And I started, working out with some Harvard athletes prior to that, and I really liked those athletes a lot. And then it eventually grew to me now being over there.
That's pretty cool. Are you still doing the Rise Athletic?
So the Rise Athletic, I'm gonna do that in the summer.
Cool.
So that'll definitely happen in the summer. With NCAA, I can't coach high school kids while working with the collegiate team.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
It's huge. It's a weird NCAA violation. Like if they came to campus, I can coach them, but outside of a 50-mile radius, you can't.
Oh, that's bizarre.
Yeah, but I mean, the Harvard experience has been good, man. I like the athletes a lot at Harvard. I like the group a lot. Really good energy, really good intensity, a lot of potential in the group. When you think Harvard, a lot of people think, oh, it's gonna be some stuck-up kids or whatever. But no, I mean, they're a really, really good intellectual, want to get better, want to get after it. They motivate me to want to be there. And I never thought I liked college, but I really like the group over there.
That's cool. And you were even saying, you were starting to say off air, the differences between the college kids versus working with high school kids.
Yeah.
So totally different.
Huge difference. Huge difference. High school and youth development is different because with a lot of my youth development guys, they're grassrooted kids. I'm probably the only coach they've ever had.
Sure.
They know my expectations as a coach. They know what I'm fine with, what I'm not fine with. They know how I like to compete or how I want them to compete and how to conduct themselves. I'm very big on, you got to hold yourself to a high standard. You got to be very respectful. We're very organized.
Yeah.
If you see my youth guys, okay, they know the expectations. A lot of times they'll go out and practice and I don't even have to be there.
Nice.
Because they understand and they're young. With Harvard, it's different because college kids at least college kids now, especially, they're going through a lot of shit.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff going on, mental health issues, which you have to be aware of, especially in a high stress environment like that. But a lot of the kids over at Harvard, they've had other coaching before. So it's a lot of times you
can't really mold them maybe as much as you would with a high school kid.
Yeah, from the start, it's
yeah.
So a lot of it's buy-in factor.
Yeah,
they have to trust me.
Sure.
And I always tell them, I'm like, hey guys, if you don't trust me, it's not gonna work.
Yeah, literally.
You got, I'm going to invest as much time as I can into you guys. If you guys ever need me, I'm going to be there. I said, I'm one of those people, I don't miss meets. I don't like being late to practice. I'm a very big players coach. I'm I got your back. I want you to have my back. And it's about establishing that, where with the youth guys, they already know that. And
Yeah.
they don't have to.
You have to tell them that.
They don't have
They
to
just see it.
They know that. They're like,
Yeah.
they're like, yo, this guy's coming to practice earlier, shoving the circle, throwing snow melt on the circle so we can throw, or like, picking, like if they're stuck somewhere, they need me to pick them up. They know they can call me or whatever. With college, it's, they don't know me,
Right.
So it's a lot of the first couple of months was just kind of getting the kids to buy in, trusting my ability as a coach to get them better. And, again, not only to make them better athletes, better people.
Yeah.
So I think that's been the huge struggle for me, at least. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, totally different populations. And is this your first season over Harvard now?
Yeah.
And did you start this coming spring, or was it last fall?
So I started in the fall. So I started in like August.
Cool. How'd it go?
Some
room for improvement for the spring.
yeah. There's a lot of room for improvement. Again, it's finding out every out. Like, what have you done in the past?
Yeah.
And it's funny because a lot of them don't know a lot of like stuff that like I thought they would just know generally because I just assumed.
Yeah.
Because I said I just assumed it.
But you're also like a student of the game too. It sounds like you just done so much research into it. Like
huge.
Yeah, and maybe some of these kids are just like they show up and throw.
Yeah, and like they're good. Like they're real good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's and then also with the college guys versus the high school, I think I'm a little bit more how to say it's more like a lot more laid back in the sense of like I'm not really like on their asses all the time and stuff like that. And I feel like with high school kids or like younger kids, they need more of that structure because they'll just it's a dangerous sport at the end of the day. Like you could hurt yourself.
Yeah.
So like I'm very big on safety, and with college you don't have to do as much of the safety because they get it.
Yeah, that's cool. We'll switch gears slightly. So are you still competing in like powerlifting or Oli, or were you doing any competing in that or just training with that?
I was just training. Honestly, I said it's something where I've never loved. I like being when I was an athlete, I loved being an athlete, and I never thought I wouldn't ever be an athlete. And I thought, hey, I'm going to be done. I'm going to train for USA weightlifting. I'm training
American Open.
I'm going to do meets. I'm going to do all this stuff. And then eventually it stopped being about me.
Sure.
And being more so about, I gotta get these kids to turn up. I gotta get these kids to snap, man. I'm out here in the trenches with these kids. I need to get them to get better. So I never got into that stuff.
Cool.
But I said if I wasn't coaching, I can promise you I'm an adrenaline junkie. I like training hard. I like high intensity. I would be doing
that makes sense.
Competitions.
That's cool. So the shirt you have on right now, CBC.
Carroll Barbell Club. Check it out, Westerly, Rhode Island.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Nice. I know just from being in the weightlifting world for a while. Is that the one Cooper trains out of? He drops there once in a while. I know it's one in Westerly. Is there a Westerly Barbell Club too?
No, it's Westerly CrossFit. That's the one he drops by.
Oh, is that separate?
It's right next to it.
No way. Of course.
My throws coach in college is actually his gym. Super cool gym if you ever want to check out. It's like an underground like Hulk Hogan kind of vibe.
Love it.
Gym. It's fired up.
That's awesome. So do you drop down there to Westerly? Are you from the area? Are you in Providence?
Yeah, I'm in Rhode Island. I live in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
I'm not leaving. I'm never leaving.
Same.
Best state. I fight with people all the time. This is the best state in the country. I've been everywhere. The best state in the country.
It is. I agree. Yeah. I wholeheartedly agree. I'm not leaving.
I'm never leaving. I will go and drop down there. My training now is I change my what I want to do every single year. My training now is different, but it's cool.
What are you hitting now?
So now I'm doing a lot of velocity-based training.
No, I know that's big right now. That's cool.
Yeah, I just feel better. Like I feel better when I do speed stuff.
Yeah.
So I've been doing a lot of like super fast cleans. I think I ripped a really good I think it was 245 for 5 super fast with a Tendo unit.
Nice.
I've been just doing a lot of speed stuff just because I feel great doing it. I've never trained like this before.
That over at Harvard, they have the Tendo unit?
Yeah, they have that.
That's cool.
And then I have this like cheap app that I use sometimes.
Nice.
I get like my speed. And it sets parameters of like, oh wow, like I have to get it at whatever. So I mean, I still train 5 days a week. You know, every year I decide something different that I want to do.
So with the velocity based training, does it basically whatever program you're doing, is it like, okay, you have to hit these reps, but it has to be between this speed and this speed?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. You get smoked.
Yeah. And then if you like, let's say you do lift and you're starting to get slower, you're like, okay, your set's done. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not doing any more reps there.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And then that's the big thing. And then like as a hammer thrower, the worst lift for you is the bench press. You don't want to bench a lot.
Really?
Yeah, because you want to get the ball as far away from your body as possible. You want to have a long radius.
Sure.
So like if you have a big bench, your
Yeah.
arms become like this, the ball doesn't get as far as possible. So I mean,
That's range of motion.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay.
So my big thing was I've never had a good bench press just because of that.
Sure.
And like now I'm trying to smoke some shit on the bench.
There we go. Now you can get after it.
Yeah, I'm trying to hit some crazy shit on the bench.
I mean, I'm not good at bench either, but I don't have any excuse to back it up. It's just is what it is. But exactly. All right. So let's start to, all right, let me ask this question. What are you doing for nutrition right now?
Nutrition. So right now I'm pretty good on my nutrition. Right now the number one thing is just eating clean.
Yeah.
Usually in the summer I'll cut down. Like summer I'm very regimented. Well, not the summer. I'd say like the spring going into the summer I'm very regimented. Right now it's
Tread
just like,
season.
Yeah, I cut. I kind of get all into it, like no alcohol, all the stuff, cut weight.
Nice.
But right now I said my number one thing is just eating clean. Just try to get my spinach shake every single morning. I really don't eat anything fried. I stay away from fried food, even though it's absolutely delicious. I stay away from fried food. I don't eat a lot of breads either. Again, it's not like I don't like really on top of it right now.
Sure.
But like as soon as
It's the winter, it's the bulk. You know, you get a little more flexibility.
Yeah. As soon as I get to spring, man, I'm telling you right now, I cut down a lot. So.
Yeah. So you almost eat like a paleo style.
Yeah.
Like pretty unprocessed.
Yeah, pretty
healthy foods.
Yeah, just like don't overcomplicate it. Yeah, I guess.
Cool. I like it. All right. So last couple questions before we wrap up. We're right at the top of the hour here. Or anything also you're doing for recovery? I know you mentioned sleep. Any tech that you use for that, like heart rate trackers, or just anything else for recovery, like yoga, stretching, meditation, massage, PT, heat, cold, anything like that?
So this is another thing where don't be like me. My sleep is bad, man. My sleep is so bad, and I know that's the number one thing I need to work on. But it's like I balance a lot of things, and I think the thing I give up, you know, when they say you have the balanced pie chart, you have to give up one thing. Sleep is bad. Like that is one of those things where do not be like me. Get your sleep. You need it. Recovery is important. But like, yeah, sleep is not my thing.
You know what's funny is this could just be coincidence, but what I found the most, the people, I mean, obviously we like sleep is super important. I agree. Yeah. But the people who are like the most adamant about like, make sure you get your sleep are usually the ones that are like, man, I really need to work on my sleep too.
Yo, it's crazy.
That's what I found. It's like,
it's crazy.
Because you realize how important it is when you're not getting it.
It's crazy. Yeah. I gotta stop that. I gotta get better.
How about like massage work, yoga, stretching, anything like that?
Big stretching in the morning person. My number one goal for this year is I want to find a physical therapist. Maybe it'll be you.
Hey, come on.
I want to find a physical therapist, and I just want to go in and hold me accountable for stretching.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those things like, yes, I do stretch in the morning and stuff like that, but is it something that I think is extremely important for me that I need to do?
Sure.
Is that's the goal. I'm gonna get a physical therapist, and I'm gonna pay just to go in 2 days a week and just be like, hey, can we just stretch?
Yeah.
I said I'm not a huge. I don't really like yoga because a lot of those positions I can't even get into just because of my right leg being robotic.
Oh, geez, yeah. Is that from the surgery?
Yeah, from all those
from the femur.
Yeah.
Wow.
But like I think when I broke my knee or femur injury or whatever, okay. I think the best thing where I always talk about to today was having a really good physical therapist. My physical therapist definitely changed my life for sure.
I like that advice a lot. I can get behind that.
Hit him, my boy.
All right. So last couple questions just to wrap up. Anything in store for the future? I know you got a lot going on at Harvard, which is awesome, but anything you're looking forward to coming up soon or this year?
I don't know. I'm a ebbs and flow guy. I go with the flow. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if I'm going to be in collegiate athletics still. I'd like to be in collegiate athletics still.
Cool.
I think, again, group at Harvard, check them out. Fired up this year. They're going to do well. Love those kids, man. Those kids piss me off. Don't get me wrong, but I love those kids. It's a really, really great group. 100%. They're gonna do well. Follow them.
That's awesome.
So I don't know what the future holds. Ebbs and flows. Rise Athletics will still be running.
That's cool.
Still going to be giving back to the kids, giving back to the community. My number one thing is, hey, I think I was put on this earth to give back to the community, man. I like supporting kids. I like supporting athletes. I want to get better. So that's my goal is, invest my time into the youth.
That's
and I think more people need to invest time into youth development. I'm a huge youth development guy. So yeah, I don't know what the future holds. Hopefully somebody notices me and they're like, oh, wow, this guy doesn't kind of suck. Like, maybe we'll give him a job.
Hey, there we go. Rhody Strength to put you on.
Yes, sir.
And quick, Rise Athletics. That's in the summertime, right?
Yes, sir.
That's cool. All right. And then anything else you want to plug? Where can people find you? Is Instagram? You're on Raisin Brand also on Instagram?
Oh, Raisin Brand. That's my personal. Actually, you can go on the Rise Athletics Instagram.
Okay.
It's weird enough because I get a lot of my kids give me shit for it because they're like, hey, you got to rip the Instagram more.
Sure.
And I've always been one of those people where I like kind of flying underneath the radar. That doesn't mean don't shout me out. But
yeah, of course.
I've always been one of those people that likes, because I get so many messages and all the time, and I'm like, oh man, how do I balance all of this? So I've always laid low.
That's cool though too.
As far as the Instagram goes, but yeah, I mean,
Rise Athletics is the spot to.
Rise Athletics is the spot to DM me. Come join the squad. Let's get work done.
Love it. All right, the final question we're gonna leave you off with. So this is a Tim Ferriss question. It's if you get the billboard on 95, the one where the big blue bug is. Is it Rob Levine right there? I think
it's Rob Levine. Yeah.
So if you get that billboard for a day, it's basically it could be your message to the people of Rhode Island. Some people will choose a favorite quote or favorite saying. What would you put up on that billboard?
Quick, Rob Levine. He's ripped out of his mind. I'm not sure you saw him.
Yeah?
He works out. He's ripped out of his mind. He really is the heavy hitter.
No way.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I've said this question so many times, and I'm surprised he hasn't come after me yet.
He's ripped.
That's cool to know.
He's ripped out of his mind. Dude just bicep curls.
Let's go.
I got this from one of my favorite coaches. His name was Judd Logan. He talked about being the man in the middle or being the woman in the middle. My number one thing, and I try to preach to all of my athletes, is, hey guys, you're gonna have way more bad days than you're gonna have good days. You're gonna have days you're gonna want to give up. You're gonna be days when things are tough. But again, if you can learn to be in the middle and realize that the good days are gonna come, and you're going to excel and you're going to achieve your goals, you're going to reach that. And it's all about conquering the mental aspect of sport. Sport in general is mental, very, very mental. And, if you let those bad days break you, you're kind of smoked at that point. And you got to realize, stay on the path of consistency, stay on the path of, trusting your coach and trusting in yourself and your ability to achieve your goals, and you're going to achieve your goals. And that's one of those things I've been huge about, is you gotta be the man in the middle or the woman in the middle. You gotta live in the middle. And, I tell them about track and field and, throwing. And I also, believe the same way about life. And that's why I think, throwing is the best life-based sport you're going to get. So that's one of those things where I'll tattoo that on me.
Hell yeah. I love it, man.
Yeah, it's great.
Hey,
it's great.
Mic drop.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Bang.
Cool. Well, thanks for being on.
Of course. Hey, thanks for having me. I'll definitely be checking out more of your podcast.
Absolutely. Too. All right. Rhody Strength signing off.